I call this special meeting of the Hamilton City School Board for November 10th, 2022 to order. Ms. Treasurer, would you please administer the oath of office to our board members?
Please rise and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Hamilton City School District, Butler County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do. Ms. Treasurer, will you please call roll?
Brandenburg.
Here.
Lowry.
Here.
Hibbard.
Here.
Boomer.
Here.
Bengala.
Here. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Superintendent, can you please share your comments?
Great things have been going on in the city of Hamilton. Sophomore Caroline Boyley of Baden has been the first tennis player to make it to state since 2003. In addition to great athletic accomplishments, student representatives Jimmy Zettler and Mary Giffen are National Merit semi-finalists at Baden, while JJ Even is Baden's National Merit Commended Student. Following these great achievements, the Ram football team has gone undefeated this whole season, winning 12 games, and the volleyball team is going to state semifinals. In the following years, there will be a new addition to the Rams football experience, as construction plans have started for the new Terry Malone football field. At Hamilton High School, there also have been some new additions. We have lately gained a diving team headed by Coach Wagner. Sports-wise, Hamilton has had some great wins lately, with the football team defeating Sycamore in their last home game, while women's volleyball defeated Middletown in 3 sets. Girls volleyball captain Macy Pennington has achieved second team All-GMC girls volleyball. Also, Isabella Peters and Gravy Tome become the Big Blues girls soccer All-GMC honorees. Speaking of great representatives, our staff represents just as much as our students. Ms. Reardon, a history teacher at the high school, heads the program's NHS and student council. Ms. Reardon greatly represents our staff due to the commitment to students she has, as Hamilton High School's homecoming could not have run as smoothly as it did without her. Lately, our music programs have also had great success. The Big Blue Marching Band has achieved a superior rating at Bandorama and will be going to nationals. On the topic of fine arts students, Artemis Vasquez, a representative, will be going to nationals. He composed a song, Yearn, for the high school's orchestra to play during their fall concert. This is such a great accomplishment for such a young talent. Finally, the latest Bulldog win was at the GMC cheer competition, where varsity and JV took home first place respectively, and middle school took first runner-up in the category traditional. All these events happen just in the fall. The accomplishments of our schools are growing and evolving, and thanks to these groups, making the city of Hamilton a better place.
Thank you, Ms. Superintendent. And on to new business. Our first issue is replacing the lights in the auditorium at Hamilton High School. Ms. Bengala, do you have any comments?
The broken auditorium lights at Hamilton High School should be replaced. The auditorium lights at Hamilton High School are not functioning properly. Lighting in the performing arts serves a variety of purposes, including allowing the actors to see what is happening on the stage, drawing the audience's attention to a particular person or location, and establishing the atmosphere or the tone of a scene. Lighting for live performances have many uses. As there are a lot of fine arts events coming up in next few months, we should get those lights situated as soon as possible.
And what is the current state of the lights?
The current state of these lights are hazardous. Every time the lights are turned on, they start a spark, posing a high fire risk and leaving broken glass on the floor.
How many light fixtures will we be replacing?
We'll be replacing 87 new light fixtures.
And what is the cost of each fixture?
Miss Treasurer, do you know the answer?
According to some estimates that we've looked at, the cost would range from $1,000 to $2,700.
And what is the difference between the low end and the high end of these fixtures?
The lowest price is for the wired fixtures and the highest price is for the wireless. And having the wireless would be very helpful to move them around.
Are there any further discussion on this issue?
Auditorium lights are very vital, as I mentioned, for performing arts. The lights set a tone of the scene and audience's experience are greatly influenced by the lighting design used on stage. Getting these lights is very important as soon as possible without risking or causing any damage to the students, teachers, or any of the district's property.
Is there a motion for item number 1?
I move that the broken auditorium lights at Hamilton High School should be replaced.
I second the motion.
Ms. Treasurer, can you call for a vote?
Brandenburg? Yes.
Hibbard?
Yes. Boomer?
Yes.
Lowry? Yes. Bengala?
Yes.
This motion carries from 5 to 0.
Moving on to item number 2 on the agenda, carrying backpacks around during the school day, and I will speak about this issue. So students at Hamilton High School and Baden should be allowed to carry their backpacks around during the day in order to store their school supplies. Students carrying their backpacks will cause students to be significantly less likely to drop their items in the hallway. Calculators will remain intact and their batteries will remain in their spot, which is an issue at Baden. Students are less likely to drop school property, such as computers and textbooks, and this means that textbooks will last longer and remain in better condition, and students will not have to pay the cost for a replacement computer. In addition, students are most likely to be prepared for class. They will have one place to stick their materials and they'll all be in one spot, and they'll be able to carry around more supplies with minimal consequences. There will be less congestion in the hallways, and students are less likely to be late to class because they will not have to stop at their lockers as often. Therefore, the hallways will move smoother, and students will have more time to get to class, ensuring their arrival on time. In addition, it is also free to implement and will not cost us anything.
How come backpacks were taken out of school to begin with?
Ms. Superintendent, do you have this answer?
Most schools removed the option to carry around backpacks after the Columbine shooting in 1999. And this has been an issue with security in other schools since then. Some schools gave students the option to carry around clear backpacks.
School shootings have not disappeared. How can we ensure the safety of the students if we reinstate backpacks?
Removing backpacks would not have prevented either the Columbine shooting, where the students hid their guns in their trench coats, or the Uvalde shooting, which was another major shooting that happened recently. Also at Hamilton, the students have their backpacks searched when they enter the building, and besides, students bring their backpacks into school every day and have easy access to their lockers throughout the day. Additionally, 38.4% of shootings were in the morning and 49.9% were in the afternoon and evening, and these are times when students would have their backpacks on them anyways.
So how do you plan on addressing the problem of students smuggling in contraband?
Again, students already bring their backpacks in with them every day and have easy access to them in their lockers, so we won't really allow for more contraband, just the same contraband that students are bringing in anyways.
Would the backpacks pose a fire hazard in the aisles?
No more than books in the aisles, especially at Baden, where books are always on the floor because we do not have room on our desks to fit our books, and what we're working on is the students often put them in the middle of the whole aisleways, and in fact, this might pose less of a threat because all of the books are in one spot, organized, rather than in multiple piles on the floor because you have to reach this binder and then this folder, so it could pose less of a fire hazard.
What about allowing students to carry around clear backpacks as a solution?
Clear backpacks would not have stopped either the Columbine or the Uvalde shooting. Also, Policies requiring clear backpacks appear to have zero effects on violence and weapon carrying in schools, and therefore there will be no point.
How do you propose we implement this?
We can implement it as a trial run in the Hamilton main building and the freshman buildings, as well as Baden, starting after winter break until the end of the year. This would give us a nice short duration to test it and see if it works. And if everything goes well, after a couple of years, we can implement it in the middle schools of Hamilton.
Just to note, Baden was able to carry backpacks around during COVID, and I'm not aware of any problems that occurred.
Is there any further discussions on this issue? All right. And then I move that students at Hamilton and Baden high schools should be allowed to carry their backpacks around during the day in order to store their school supplies.
I second the motion.
Ms. Treasurer, can you call for a vote?
Hibbard?
Yes.
Brandenburg?
Yes.
Boomer?
Yes.
Lowry?
Yes.
Vigala?
Yes.
The motion carries from 5-0.
All right, moving on to item number 3 on our agenda, cell phones at Baden. Ms. Brandenburg, do you have something to say on this?
Students at Baden High School should be allowed to access their phones during lunch. Students would benefit from being able to have their phone out at lunch because it gives them a break in the day to unwind. Having a 20-minute period where phones could be checked would prevent people from missing important information from parents, coaches, and employers. Cell phone usage doesn't take away from conversations at the lunch table. In fact, they could help start conversations in real life by allowing students to share pictures of what they did over the weekend, events they are attending, and would even allow students to show pictures of things like their homecoming dresses. A short 20 minutes with phones won't cause harm and allows students to start conversations.
Why are Baden students allowed access to their phone during lunch now?
Administration states that cell phones will take away from conversations with students face-to-face. However, students would benefit from showing pictures to others about what they are doing outside of school as a conversation starter.
Won't this just lead us down a slippery slope of students being on their phones at inappropriate times during the school day? This will lead to a disruption of learning environment, and grades and credits will suffer.
Not if administration continues to enforce a strict boundary on where cell phones can and cannot be used. Students will have to respect the guidelines, which is not a problem amongst students.
Will having students accessing their phones cause issues with the Wi-Fi?
I will address this. If everyone is using their own data plans, it will not affect Baden's Wi-Fi at all. However, if they do have the password for either the student or the teacher Wi-Fi's, it would definitely slow down the Wi-Fi tremendously, and this would be an extremely hard problem to fix because the only solution would be to change the password, and then the technology team would have to input this new password in every single device it's already on, and so it would be really hard to implement and a lot of work for a technology department, and so in theory, no.
Wouldn't this just lead to less respect for the rules if we were just changing our policy to now allow something that was banned previously?
No, this could prevent students from being on their phones at inappropriate times behind teachers' backs. Allowing phones at lunch would allow students to check their phones during a permitted time, preventing sneakily checking it during class to check things like work schedules and texts from parents or coaches. Also, Baden has banned things in the past such as spirit wear crew neck sweatshirts that weren't in uniform before, which now has changed. This new freedom for students has not caused any problems, so neither would changing the phone policy at lunch.
Is there any further discussion for this issue? Is there a motion for this issue?
I move that students at Baden High School should be allowed to access their phones during lunch.
I second the motion.
Ms. Treasurer, can you call for a vote?
Lowry?
Yes.
Vigala?
Yes.
Brandenburg? Yes. Boomer?
Yes.
Hibbard?
Yes.
This motion carries from 5-0.
Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, Hamilton High School's pep rallies. Ms. Superintendent, what are your thoughts on this?
Hamilton High School needs to reinstate pep rallies to encourage camaraderie between sports and supporting our teams. Having pep rallies would not only encourage these behaviors, but it would bring the Hamilton community together because we would have more citizen involvement in our school when there is more attendance at our games.
Why were pep rallies halted at Hamilton High School?
Unfortunately, pep rallies were halted at Hamilton High School due to the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID started in late 2019, and the effects are still wearing off. But currently, in Hamilton, we do not have a mandate regarding COVID. Overall, the effects of COVID in our daily lives are slowly going away. As we return to normalcy, we should encourage pep rallies to help educate students on school spirit, since not one student currently at Hamilton High School has had a pep rally after their freshman year unless they were a member of the band or the girls' school.
And would this event cost any money?
No, this event would not cost the school or students any money. All events planned within and presented already would be events that items needed such as music would be provided through high-tech speakers already at Hamilton. There would be no need to ask for outside school volunteers, as there are teachers already working with the host of the event, the student athletic leadership representatives, to recruit current staff for the event. In the case of students, a majority of Hamilton High School students are on free or reduced lunch regularly, so providing a free event is essential for including the whole student body without discrimination.
How would this event engage students?
This event would get students engaged by teaching them how to cheer up upcoming games. As many of you know, Hamilton High School's first game is November 26th versus Baden in basketball. Since students at the high school haven't had pep rallies in years, cheerleaders will lead the school performing to get the school prepared for the first game. Additionally, there will be activities such as musical chairs and a presentation of all sports, including the top 5 ceremony for senior basketball players. Including all these events, it will engage the student body and prepare them for sports seasons to come.
And is there any further discussion for this issue? Is there a motion for this issue?
I move that students at Hamilton High should have the opportunity to hold a pep rally for the support of athletic teams each season.
I second the motion.
Ms. Treasurer, can you call for a vote?
Boomer,
Yes.
Bengala,
Yes.
Brandenburg,
Yes.
Lowry,
Yes.
Hibbard.
Yes.
This motion carries from 5 to 0.
All right, moving on to item number 5, Hamilton High School's outdoor hallway cover. Ms. Treasurer, what are your thoughts on this?
The Hamilton City Schools should enclose the outdoor hallway between the main building and the CTE building at Hamilton High School. Enclosing the outdoor hallway would minimize the crowds in the one main hallway that already exists between the main building and the CTE building, so students can make it to class on time. During class changes, the amount of students in one area is a safety hazard, and enclosing the hallway would help with that. It could be a faster way to get to the other building, depending on which part you're going to.
And what are the estimated costs?
Some estimates that we have looked into would be around $100,000 or more, depending on the professionals hired, materials used, and square footage.
What other benefits would we get from this besides the ease of movement for students?
With our policies and rules already in place at Hamilton High School, having this hallway be enclosed would increase our security. Students wouldn't be walking outside anymore to get from the main building to the CTE building. There are also a couple of picnic tables out by this hallway, and so with it being enclosed, it would become another courtyard. Hamilton High School already has a few courtyards already, and so this one could be used by students and staff.
Would we be able to make this ADA accessible?
The other enclosed hallway is ADA accessible, and plus, this other hallway would be too steep for those students to use.
What would be the timeline for construction?
Again, that would all depend on the construction company that we hired and what materials we are using to enclose the hallway.
Is there any further discussion for this issue? Is there a motion for this issue?
I move that Hamilton City Schools should enclose the outdoor hallway between the main building and the CTE building at Hamilton High School.
I second the motion.
Ms. Treasurer, can you call for a vote?
Lowry,
Yes.
Mangala,
Yes.
Hibbard, yes. Boomer,
Yes.
Brandenburg, yes. This motion carries from 5 to 0.
Moving on to item number 6 of the agenda, the school resource officer at Baden.
Baden High School should hire a school resource officer to enhance safety for students, staff, and visitors at Baden. There is a growing concern in communities across America about the safety in our schools. Getting a resource officer for Baden High School will help ensure the safety of our students and will help everyone feel more at ease throughout the day. School resource officers offer experience with handling potentially violent situations and would bring vast knowledge about security to the administration team.
What steps would you take to implement the use of a school resource officer at Baden?
A climate survey will need to be conducted to determine the level of necessity our school needs for a resource officer. This means surveying our surrounding communities, students, staff, faculty, parents, administrators. Expanding on the relationship with the Hamilton Police Department, and then after surveying, a school administrator should participate in the selection process and conduct a needs assessment to determine the goals and level of authority at our school.
What other benefits could we receive from a resource officer at Baden?
School resource officers can prevent and respond to school-based crime, create positive relationships between youth and law enforcement, help promote and support a positive school environment, and reduce suspensions amongst students.
What challenges could Baden face with adding an SRO?
School resource officers can encounter resistance from school personnel, parents, or the larger community, gray space when dealing with issues and conflicts, coordination with the school, can increase resistance among students, increase juvenile arrest rate, and there could also be a lack of understanding on topics such as adolescent development, communication, implicit bias, and school-specific topics and culture competence.
And what is the estimated cost for this?
Ms. Treasurer, do you have an estimate on the cost?
The estimated cost for a school resource officer is around $60,000 a year per school resource officer.
Is there any further discussion on this issue?
A school resource officer would also make carrying backpacks easier.
Is there a motion for this issue?
I move that Baden High School should hire a school resource officer to enhance the safety for students, staff, and visitors at Baden.
I second the motion. Ms. Treasurer, will you call for a vote?
Vandala,
Yes.
Brandenburg,
Yes.
Boomer,
Yes.
Lowry,
Yes.
Hibbard.
Yes.
This motion carries from 5 to 0.
The floor is now open for comments from citizens. If you wish to comment, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and make your comment or ask your question.
Steve Braun, 123 Sesame Street. On carrying backpacks in school, when we carried backpacks around in school, we did have lots of issues with it. It created a lot more overcrowding in our hallways, and we did have students bringing more things into class that they shouldn't be brought in. How well has this issue of carrying backpacks really been thought out? And is this going to be a problem then for teachers in the classroom?
Specifically at Baden, like I said, someone said we did not have issues that students were aware of bringing backpacks around during the year we were allowed to. I was not aware of any extra contraband in the classrooms, and if there was, that could be up to teachers to enforce that, which they should be doing anyways, to make sure that this contraband is not in class and or being used in class.
Hello, Jordan Seitz, 123 New London Road. So I had a question on the cell phones issue. So I know that our youth today are definitely suffering from the effects of social media. Don't you think that introducing more opportunities to access social media could lead to an increase in things like cyberbullying and the effects that come from that, like anxiety or depression among our youth?
I would say that amongst students at Baden, a lot of kids already are on their cell phones during lunch, and that things like that has not rose as a problem to my awareness, and that just making the cell phone policy more lenient on students during lunch would just prevent people from getting in trouble unnecessarily.
Thank you.
I'm Marie Hoopman, 7527 Providence Woods Court. It's in Westchester. Regarding the cell phone issue at lunch, I do agree that we should be able to have it at lunch. 20 minutes, I don't think, prohibits anyone from having conversations that they would normally during the day. And I do think there has been multiple times where I wanted to show a photo or a video of something and I was not allowed during lunch. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the school. Regarding backpacks, I've loved carrying my backpack around. I think it was so much easier, and with the desks, there's not a lot of room under it to put your things, so it can cause a hazard for tripping, walking down the aisles, and I think backpacks really help that. So I really loved both those issues. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments.
Ethan Gibson, 1635 Thal Drive. I'd like to say I'm in 100% agreements with the backpacks, and especially with Marie said. However, I think we should go a little bit further with the cell phones. You know, why just stop at lunch? What if I have a free period? What about a study hall? You know, it's study hall, it's first period. I don't have any homework. I think we should go further with the phones.
I am not disagreeing.
We are allowed to be on our cell phones during study hall at Hamilton High. Just saying.
Just saying. We see the validity of your points, however, we do not want to push it. One is significantly more likely than the other.
Ah, okay.
So
Thank you.
we hear your concerns.
Lily Oberson, 3939 River Road. I wanted to discuss the backpack issue because I do think that it's kind of a problem if you don't have metal detectors or something in school when you're walking in, because you're prioritizing convenience over safety, which I think could kind of be an issue in the long run.
You make a valid point.
Yes.
And should Baden choose to implement a school resource officer, this would affect the backpack situation because it would enable them to either search the backpacks or just keep a closer eye on things like that at Baden.
Thank you.
Thank you for your concerns.
Hi, Nicolette Cord, 1855 Gardner Road. I'd like to ask, for the Hamilton High School outdoor hallway cover, where would that money come from? Because $100,000 is a lot.
Ms. Treasurer.
It would honestly just, we would have to talk to probably the actual school board treasurer, because like that would have to probably come from grants or something that we would have to look into.
Okay, I think it's a great idea because during the winter people still go out there and it's icy, so I completely agree with the notion. I'm just curious. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing your concerns, and unfortunately, due to time constraints, we are going to have to adjourn this meeting. So the meeting of the Hamilton City School Board for November 10th, 2022 is adjourned.
Oh.